Hello, people. How are we doing? Happy Friday. Happy Good Friday. It's actually a Good Friday thing. So yeah, safe. Michael's here. Big ups. Man in nap mode, and you're out here with dimensions of chess. Trust me, man. This game, I was playing it last night. I was just having untold amounts of jokes. So I thought I'd at least know the rules now. Like, I should hopefully be able to make a reasonably interesting stream. So let's see if we can. Like, I was literally crying with laughter last night playing this game. So yeah, pretty jokes. Versus mode, right? CPU match. Oh wait, what? Oh, I wonder if this game is one of these. Some games are sensitive and OBS doesn't understand that they're a full screen application, and then you have to tell OBS like, yo, okay, don't just capture any full screen application. Please capture this specific little dude. And then OBS is like, oh, okay, I understand what you want me to do now. There we go. Yeah, weird. Like, most games just work on OBS's standard, like, any full screen thing. Sea of Thieves was another one that was sensitive, and so is this. Anyway, so we're going to just play a CPU match first. But we might get into some public matches, and I've not played any human opponents with this game yet. Safe, Ian. I'm busy training in Tom City. Give me a lurk. Nice. Oh, Torn City. Okay. Mattox as well. Big up. Can you help me out a bit with music? Because I need to make a trailer for a Roblox game because I got chosen, but I'm shit at music. Yeah, for sure. Give me a shout on Discord. I'll help you out with some music. I could, like, you can use one of my tracks for one video maybe, or we can come to a deal. Yeah, no problem. So, I don't know if you guys are familiar with 3D chess. I'm just going to start a game. We're going to play against a regular opponent first. Although, no, actually, no, we're not. I worked out very quickly those guys are too easy. You can exploit them quite easily. So we'll just play balanced strong, I think. Something just flickered on my screen. Okay, I'm assuming it's all okay. Oh, also, did I turn off all of the sounds? But we want the sounds back on. Yeah, nice. There's like ambience. Just this this permanent, like, low-level rumble. I don't know if that rumble's too loud. Tell me if it's annoying. It's upside down. Oh, yeah, it's upside down. What the... No, wait. It's upside down and mirrored. Okay, wow. I haven't experimented with streaming this game before, clearly. Presumably, I can just add a filter and flip it. Scaling and aspect ratio. Maybe that's it. No. Super weird, that, isn't it? Greetings and salutations. Safe, Danby. Yeah, I don't know. This game is, like, freaking out. Hook rate. Yeah, okay, well, here's another way of doing it then. Let's go back to any full screen application, which will make it freak out, and let's just play with screen capture. There we go. We'll just do it like that. That's our solution, because it's hardly a game with fast moving graphics, so screen capturing should be absolutely fine. So we'll just work with that. I don't know, this app is strange, isn't it? If OBS can't even see that it's a full screen application, and then when you specifically say, okay, capture this screen, it comes in backwards and mirrored. Weird. But maybe that's something to do with the time travel and the multiverse fuckery that this whole game is. Maybe, you know, there's more than meets the eye to this game. Okay, so this is a chessboard. I'm assuming that everyone knows the rules of normal chess. So we'll just start by playing a move. And I've learnt that it's not a good idea in 3D chess to control the center. You don't want really to let your king out at all. Because one of the key things in 3D chess is that we're able to take pieces that are in the past. Now, pieces that are in the past can't move. So defending your king is a historical issue in this game. It's not just about making sure your king is defended right now. It's about making sure that your king is defended throughout history. Because I could move this middle pawn here out to here like you might in a normal game of chess, but then this diagonal here is open to the king from like the dawn of history. And that makes the king vulnerable in the future. So my strategy that I've been developing is to just keep the king boxed in throughout the game. You know, at a push, we may end up moving pieces away from the surrounding area of the king. But we're best off just not doing that. Let's see if I can get the chroma key a little bit sharper. That's a bit better. All right, so let's keep going. Let's keep going. So they've played another move. It's our move now. Let's develop our bishop out into the edge of the board again. I think the edges of the boards are where you can do stuff. We don't. Okay, that's interesting. So this is like a weak square now here. Polisi, hello. Welcome. So look, so now we're attacking here. Our bishop's defended, but they might choose to swap pieces because the pressure this bishop's putting on this square just probably isn't worth it for them in the long run. But we can't really put much more pressure on there. I think we'll develop this pawn to try and get our rook out later. Yeah, I thought that we'd be doing this trade, so that's fine. We'll do that trade. Okay, and now the queen comes forwards. So, but that's all right because we can play here and threaten the fork. Threaten to fork the rook and the king. Although, hold on. That knight is actually protecting it. So we've got an undo move, but that's because, you see up here there's submit moves, and that's because later on we'll be playing on multiple boards at once. So when I move this piece to here, like I haven't actually confirmed my move, so we are able to undo it. It's only when you press submit then everything is set in stone, and at that point when you press submit you can't undo. So it's not as cheesy as it looks having an undo button in a chess game. And I'll just explain how the pieces move as we go. But for now, while we're on just one timeline, they just move like all normal pieces of chess move, right? Now, what we can do is move back in time. So we can move a piece from here back to one of these previous states of the board, and at that point it will create a new branch. But I have learned as well, my strategy at the moment is to minimize time travel, save it for when you really need it, because there's a system in place that basically stops one player from time traveling more than the other. Oh god, now the sun's coming through. So you can't keep time traveling if your opponent isn't also doing it, or you can, but it's complicated. But we'll get to that. So there are rules that prevent you from constantly time traveling. So you kind of want to save it for when you need it. Furthermore, if your opponent ends up needing it more than you, and they end up time traveling much more than you do, it actually puts them at a disadvantage. So there's lots of reasons to not time travel unless you have to, but then when the moment comes and there's an opportunity to, it can be absolutely devastating. So what did they do? They developed, oh, I haven't submitted that knight move yet. So if we moved into the center of the board, we're not really threatening anything. I still think we do this because as long as that knight's there, this knight can't move away, and then we can maybe start to pressure that knight from somewhere else. So yeah, let's see what they do with that. Yeah, okay. Makes sense. I guess I should have seen that move coming and probably not played the knight here anyway. So opening up this file, like if we move the pawn up one space here to defend with, I mean, first that's a bad move because we end up losing our knight. I think we just come back here. Yeah, let's just come back here. Could have seen that one coming too, but now we have this move. And then just keep developing, bring the knights through. I think the knights are nice and powerful early on. Although we may have just set ourselves up here. No, I think we're okay. might just have to retreat this knight. But I think that's alright. Like, what we've done to their pawn structure and how open their king is now will be beneficial to us in the long run. But we are having to retreat a lot. Let's do this, and then the two knights defend each other. It's a nice structure, okay? The strong computer opponent always likes to... Oh, we could fork there if the queen was somewhere else. I honestly, it probably looks like we're not doing very well here because of the constant pressure we're being put under, but like causing this kind of chaos to their pawn structure is actually a really good thing to be doing. We still don't have any. Let's just do this. Keep threatening these pawns as they move forwards on us. There's not a single safe square for the knight now. But they're threatening to take with a bishop, which means that actually there's good argument for us to like defend with a pawn and go for that trade. So I think I'm gonna open up access to the king on the black squares because they don't have their black bishop anymore. So the black squares are slightly stronger for us. Although we don't have a black bishop either, but I mean it just the black squares are easier to defend because of that. So they went for the trade as always. And king's advancing there now. Let's do this and get our queen out. I know we are opening up a lot of access to our king here, but yeah, I think we do this, and then we maybe castle even. But look, you can see here, if I look at my king, I can actually move him back into that board there, which is kind of nuts. I just don't think there's no reason yet for us to do any time traveling. There's just no reason. Instead of castling that way, I might actually... Yeah, I think what we'll do is this move here. Yeah. And then we get our queen out, which is good for us. Kind of pins the knight. Oh shit, they forked us. Okay, so this is a good time to move back in time. This is like the perfect situation for us to do time travel now. So I walked right into that. That was stupid. Moving my queen to here. I felt like it was good because we were pinning the queen, but they just moved the knight and now they forked us. We're definitely losing our queen here, unless we time travel. So the queen is the best piece to time travel with because it's the most powerful. It can move any number of dimensions, any number of places. But you just have to move the same number of places in each dimension that you move in. Anyway, so we could, for example, take that pawn. Oh no, because of the knight. I think that's a really sweet move, but it doesn't give us as much time. We're not traveling as far back in time. What you've got to remember is we will move... We'll move this queen off of this board over to here. And what that will mean is that then over here, this board here will be queenless. But, in fact, no, we actually even can't. I think if we move our queen from here, it will tell us it's not allowed. Watch. The problem is, we'll do this move. Move the queen back in time to that square. And it creates a new thing, but we can't actually submit the move because look, if we did, that's check. Black doesn't have to act in the future here because the present's been moved back to where I time travel to. So black doesn't have to move here, but they can, and if they choose to, they'll win. They'll take our king. So we actually can't do that. What we can do is time travel with our king back to a time when we had a queen and we could save the queen. So like here. Let's put our king here. Okay. This means now there's a reality here where we'll keep our queen. In this reality, we'll lose our queen, but this reality no longer has a king to defend. So it's sick. That's a good move, I think. So we'll submit that. Right, now they've played a move here that puts us in check. But I think that's fine because we just take. I'm just trying to work out if we want to take with the queen or with a pawn. Dark light, hello. Big up yourself. I think perhaps we do just take with the pawn. I guess. It's hard to know. But yeah, let's... Oh. Oh dear. So they've not moved on this board here, which means we don't have any agency to move up there. Is this? Oh, it's already told us game ended. Black wins. You lose. There's no legal move here. This is checkmate. That is checkmate. We lost. Okay, fine. Well, let's play again. Balanced, strong, random. Yeah, blah blah blah. So we didn't really cover many of the rules there. In terms of how pieces move. So we can do a few more like explicit demonstrations later maybe. But I think you'll pick it up. You'll pick it up as we go. Like I say again, I'm opening on the side of the board to keep our king as well defended as possible. Submit moves. Okay, so I've got a plan here actually. I actually might castle this side. I think we're okay to do that. And with the bishop there, we're quite well defended. Maybe we should try and bring our black bishop into that square as well, and then the king is just like locked right in. Oh shit, I didn't notice that at all. But I guess we were pretty badly forked there because this pawn here was really weak too. Is this a queen trap? No, not really. Not yet. Okay, I'm going to take here. Maybe not, no. Maybe we should develop the knight to save it. This queen can still take that pawn. I know, but if I develop the knight to there, yeah, that's a strong move for trapping the queen. Okay. Let's just go on the offensive here. Because if they... No, they won't take with the queen still, because we'll just take with the pawn. So they'll have to take with the pawn, and then that still keeps the queen trapped, which is fine. Although then that pawn isn't defended anymore once the knight's taken. But still, I think let's put pressure on the rook up here. Just moved the king off of that square there. That's interesting. Presumably because we could check him in the past or something, could we? We could move back in time to take... Oh, wow, look, the bishop can move quite far back in time. You were playing Terra Firmacraft and you saw I was broadcasting live. Yeah, something slightly different to Terra Firmacraft today. Why is this? Oh, it's the sun's coming through the window onto the green screen. See if I can make it better. That made it a whole lot worse. Oh, whatever. Okay, that's fine. Right, so it's our turn here. They've moved their king, which is kind of interesting me. Just take the rook. In fact, no, I'm going to take here because then it's check. That's a lovely move. Right? And then we're threatening just mate in one move. But that would be like normal mate. I think it wouldn't be real mate because the king could... Oh no, it would be because the queen would be checking past kings at the same time. Let's see what happens. Yes, they've taken there, but I think if we take here, I think we win. Yeah, we win. So we haven't even seen some proper time travel or any messes yet. That game was played just on one timeline. Crazy. Should we try a human opponent? Okay, public match. Variant. Your match, variant standard, clocks medium, you play random. So I presumably this means I'm searching now, does it? Click to cancel, yeah. I think clocks medium is probably fine for me. Clock short is probably going to get me absolutely rinsed. Yeah, does anyone know what the player base is saying? Is this like... Oh, we have a game. We have a game. And we're black. Okay, so what are we playing? 20 plus 5. Okay. Wow. Okay, this is scary. Oh, they've moved. Yep, okay. Let's do that move. This is very, very, very jokes. I'm very excited to be playing an actual game against a real opponent here. Defend that with a nice bishop coming out. This game, bruv. Oh, what did they do? They moved that pawn out. Okay, well this is a good move for us then, isn't it, I think? Threaten the knight. Open up that line of attack. That's defended, so they could go for a trade if they wanted. But then we'd be getting our rook out very easily. So I think we go with that. Hopefully whoever we're against isn't watching the stream right now. So they're threatening the fork there. Although our queen is defending it fine. If they came here, they'd like even if we took that, you know, I'd be opening up a big space in our defenses. But I think they're probably more likely to be interested in attacking this pawn here. So in the interest of letting our queen out as well, let's defend the pawn there. And then our queen could come out here and start threatening the king even. Like, you know, threatening that diagonal that the king is on. So they've gone for that trade. Interesting. Well, we have to take back. like seriously, I started playing, like, I think it was a couple of weeks ago I did all the tutorials, which maybe I could show you guys if you're interested to learn exactly what's going on once we get into more 3D stuff. Right, look, so they've got a castle on very, very early doors, which is a sensible strategy. This knight is causing us issues because I'd like to move my queen out here and attack that square there. So we need to push this knight away first. But the only way to push it away would be to advance the pawn there. Or, I think this is the move we're going to do. Challenge it. If they take, then we get our queen to where we want to anyway by taking back. And if they move away, then we can develop our queen. Well, then we'd have to move the knight on, wouldn't we? But it's... I think this is the way to go. We also keep an eye on our time. I just actually wasted best part of a minute then talking shit. Iron the Tan, hello. How are you doing? Welcome. So we've just seen them defend with a pawn. I think we're going to go for this trade. My plan is to move the queen up here and then rook back in to keep the king well defended. There's no like way they can shoot into this diagonal anytime soon. So I think that's okay. Oh god, they're moving quickly. We need to be moving faster. I think they'll want to have a little think now after we've played that move. Probably like pawn d6 is coming, or like knight e5. Okay, d4. I think it's fine. I think if this pawn takes here and we take back, the queen has advanced to a better position. So I think we just continue with our self-defense plans. And then I wouldn't mind. I would be happy to open up this pawn here to develop the bishop, and then we could castle later as well with the bishop in the spot where the pawn used to be, so the king is still boxed in. Like I was saying at the start of the stream, but for anyone who's just joined us, in this 5D chess, you have to think of defending your king as a historical issue. It's not just like, is my king defended right now? It's, is the position that my king is in right now going to be defendable in the future? So that's why I didn't want to leave the rook here, because later on a piece could then move from the future to one of these squares here. And I mean, the queen's there, so... And it was all quite nicely defended areas, but you know, you can still imagine a situation where the king could be more vulnerable there than otherwise. So what's being threatened here? Takes here, we'd take back with the king, but then our king is super vulnerable, so that really isn't ideal. Takes here, we could take back with the queen, it would be fine. Or we could take with the rook actually. So I think we want to dodge the move of takes there, so we're going to develop the knight to defend that square so we don't have to move the king if that happens. Yeah. Queen to here probably is their next move. Queen h5. You're learning some chess, good. Yeah, well I mean, like this game is still on one timeline, so this is very much like normal chess. But I am playing very differently because I know that time travel is coming. Like, that's why we haven't developed our central pieces. This guy went for the strategy of developing central pieces, but then castling early, which is, I guess, okay. But you see, before they castled, let's look at this point in history. Just before they castled, right, you see here, that the position, like this file here, or this diagonal, I should say, is really weak because it's open to the king. Like in the future, we could maybe time travel a queen back to this spot here and get some nasty moves, or that, you know, yeah. Anyway, in fact, look, they've just done some time traveling here. So they've taken this knight, moved back in time, and taken this pawn here, and it's because knights move in L shapes. So they moved one place in time, and it looks like two boards, but it's one place in time because they moved from one white turn to the last white turn. So that's one turn, because the black, like a white turn and a black turn together make one turn, right? So anyway, they've moved one place in time and two places in the X direction, and that's how knights move, right? Two in one dimension and one in another to make an L shape. It's just that the one was in time and the two was in physical space, and that's how they were able to take the pawn and create this parallel dimension here. So what's our play here? I think our play here is to develop this pawn. And we don't need to play on this board, but we are allowed to if we choose. And I am going to choose to. I'm going to develop this pawn. We're going to start to take some risks here to actually get some attacks going. We'll submit both of those moves, and that's their turn. We're behind on time, though, because I've been kind of trying to explain things a bit. Okay, they just took our queen with that knight. I guess, this is what I mean. I can't spot these moves yet. They moved in exactly the same way. Two spaces in space and one space in parallel dimensions. So that's how knights move. An L, two, and then a one. So yeah, so the queen's dead. Only in that timeline, though. And also in this timeline, are we not in check? It appears to be, doesn't appear to suggest that we are in check. Oh, because this timeline is not active. We don't even need to, we're not forced to play here. You see how it's white? This is what I mean. Because our opponent have time traveled twice, or they've created two branches, while we haven't on our side created any yet. They're two ahead of us, and therefore they're only allowed to be one ahead of us. So that timeline's active, but that one isn't. We can just leave it behind. So they've not actually played that good of a move there. And now we have this move coming. Oh, wait, they didn't play on that board. Okay, so we have to play on this board to force them to play on that board. And the move that was coming on this board, we wanted to attack there. I can't quite remember what we were thinking. I think, oh yeah, we were thinking this. That's what we were thinking. And then we just leave that board behind, the one that we're losing on, because they've time traveled more than us. They don't get to actually force our hand in playing that board. But they will have to play these two because these ones are purple, so they're active. The one in the middle is owned by both of us. It's always active. And then any new timelines that they create will go on their side of the board, on the white side, up here. And any timelines I create will go on the bottom side of the board, on my side here. And if their side is more than one ahead of my side, then those timelines aren't active. So the middle one is shared. Then they've got one active timeline. I've got 0 active timelines on my side. Then on their second active timeline here, it's not active. Because they're two. By this point, they've got 2 timelines and I've got 0. They're 2 ahead. So only the first one remains active. If I was to create a new timeline, that one would then become active again. This is still their turn, but we're seeing their moves. They've just moved that guy to there. Okay. So they're obviously thinking about what to do on this board here, and now they've submitted. Right, okay. I don't think that move for the queen there was a good one. We just do that. It's really simple. And on this board, we need more defense. So we're going to put the knight there to block the bishop, perhaps. Yeah, because I don't want to do this and open up the white diagonal that the queen could come through on. It would be better if I want to attack the bishop to attack from here, but then we risk trading a rook for a bishop, which isn't a good trade. So let's move the knight here first. This is a move order situation. We move the knight here first to block the take. if they take, we trade, and that's a better trade. If they don't take, then we can then pressure with the pawn afterwards. And again, like, because they've gone ahead with time travel and parallel dimension creation, it's my priority now to not create any. You can see, look, these are numbered actually, the 0 lane, and then that's +1 and that's -1. So all of my ones come into the minus numbers and all of their ones will go into the plus numbers. But you can kind of think of it as that's their side of the timelines, and this is my side. Any they create go up, any I create come down. Yeah, so this is kind of useless to them, and they can create more and more if they like, but they'll all be inactive. I will not be obliged to play on any additional ones they create. So that's what I mean about there being quite a lot of power in not traveling in time and just trying to play on the boards that they create. It puts you in a position where you can then time travel when you really need it, when your back's against the wall, rather than being in a position where you're already on the back foot because you've kind of spent all of your sort of credit, all your time travel credit already. I could take him with the knight on that second timeline. Oh, really? The most common move that knights make is like just 2 places without the L, because if you move them 2 spots on the board, then you can move them 1 spot in time, or like parallel dimensions, or if you want to move 2 spots in time or 2 spots in the parallel dimensions, then you can move it 1 space on the board. So with knights, you can think of them as having their normal L shapes, or if they're moving between boards, they move 2 or 1 space in a straight line, usually. In theory, you could also move them from one board to the next, moving 1 space in time, 2 spaces in parallel, and just stay on the same square in space. It's all fucking crazy out here. But I think this is checkmate. I think we've won this game. They've just submitted now, and we have this move here. I can't see how they get out of that. They might have to flee with this king into the past, but they're already in debt for time travel. They're already in debt to me. They've taken here. But again, I think we just do this and we're threatening a very similar mating pattern on that board as well. So let's just submit those and probably win. We win! We win! It's sick. And I think I know why. It's because this queen is probably checking so many different kings from this position. So it's checking the one king that's on the same board as it, but it's also checking the king on this board because it could move back there. And it's also checking the king on that board because it could move back there. So we're checking like 3 kings at once. And there's just no way that our opponent can prevent that. So we won. Whee! Finish game. Let's try again. Let's try short clocks this time. It'll be also interesting to see if we get a game faster if we play with short clocks. Because maybe short clocks is more popular, I don't know. Hell Howard with the GG, thanks very much. Welcome as well. Is that a new name, I think? Be sure to subscribe if you're new. We've not done 5D chess on this channel before, but... Okay, wait, what happened? I obviously didn't just select a short clocks variant. I obviously selected some other kind of variant. Oh, good God. What am I feel like my best move is to move the king. No, let's do that as our first move. This is the weirdest variant. I'm actually getting really into my normal chess. I've been playing lots of normal chess again. I used to like play chess at school and stuff quite a lot. I was in the chess club or whatever. I was one of those kids. And then, like, you know, as a teenager and, you know, a young adult and stuff. Probably only really played it very occasionally, like just if there was a board there or whatever. But the last couple of years, I've been playing more and more and more chess. It sort of started a few years back. I went on holiday with some friends, and sorry, has he moved himself into check? You can't do that, mate. Yeah, you can't do that. It's great how you can see their proposed moves as well before they confirm them. That's really interesting. Yeah, so a couple of years ago, I went on holiday with a few mates and started playing chess with one of the guys that we were there with, and we just played so much chess. It was, am I in check? Oh yeah, of course I'm in check. I just take here. I'm betting that my opponent also clicked on this variant by mistake. This doesn't seem like either of us signed up for this shit. Right. I've got a plan. I've actually got a plan. We're going to move our rook onto this file, so it's now pointing at the squares that the king used to be on. And we're going to try and park our rook on that square. Because if we can park our rook on that square, then he's a goner. Let's do that move first. And then he'd move down there, which is what I suspected. Oh, no, he didn't finalize that move, apparently. He's moving back in time instead. Okay. So we are, because that's his first move, and he's only one timeline ahead of me in terms of timelines created, the present has moved back here, and I am forced to play on this board. I can choose to play on that one, but I don't have to, but I must play in the present. Future boards are optional, past boards are never playable, and present boards are required to be played. So we just play the same move that we did in the other universe, I think. No, I can't. Oh, he hasn't pressed submit yet. So now we just play that move, get the check. With no rook in this reality anymore, there's some serious vulnerability here. Let's progress the king up the board. My guess is he won't play on this board because he's not interested in that board because he's weaker. So I should say they. I don't know I don't know this opponent, so you know. It shouldn't be making those assumptions. That strikes me as being an awful move. If we just take. Oh, he's not confirmed it yet. Has now. So they just moved their rook back in time to just be taken. That seems dumb. And now they're in check again. Same move, I think. Oh, then they've not submitted yet. The other option to us is to move our king like parallel. So we have two kings down here on the board where they have no attacking pieces. That'd be pretty jokes. Now we're just going to do the same thing here. Oh, we can't actually. So you see with the rook, when the rook moved back in time, notice how it landed on the exact same square. So it landed there, which then created this branch, and there it is. It landed on the same square that it left from. Why? Well, how do rooks move in normal chess? They move as many places as you like, but only along one dimension at a time. They can move in a straight line upwards or downwards, or they can move in a straight line left or right. One dimension at a time, as many squares as you like. And so that's what this rook did. It moved as many squares as it liked. It moved 2 spaces back in time. But because it was moving in time, it couldn't move in any other dimensions, like spatial ones. And so it ended up on the same square that it started on. Yeah, see, this guy doesn't get it. So what's happened now is they've retreated their king. Oh, wait, hold on. Maybe that's really, really smart. Because they've... Well, I can choose to play this board, but I don't have to. But I will now. But I think... No, they can't play this move. If they move back to there, they're putting themselves in checkmate. Yeah, they can't do it. Because they don't want to create another instance of the world where they were in check. But instead of moving out of check, they teleported a king in. Because that original one's still in check, right? Okay, so that's what he's done. He's retreated the king from there into this world and created this one up here. It's black again, so it's still... I don't need to play on this one. I can choose to, but I don't need to. All we've got to do is just make sure that our king never goes on squares that were once inhabited by a rook, or currently are, you know. I don't think we want to play on that board. Let's leave that board behind, even though he's hiding 2 kings there. This is the king I'm going in for the kill with. I think. Takes, okay. Takes is fine. Because then I just take, and then we can move my rook from here and back into the timeline that we're actually in. Oh wait, hold on. I think there's also a problem for black here. Because black can't make a legal move on this board because there's no pieces left. But because this board is in the present, black is required to make a move on this board. Therefore, black must move a piece from this board to this one. And as you can see, this king could move over there, as can the rook. The rook could move to that square, and that's, yeah, there's the moves they've played. But that's fine. We have a plan for this. Oh, no, they've changed their mind again. Yes, we absolutely can do that, Howard. That's what I'm aiming to get my rook up to this square here. But if we move there straight away, the king could just take us. The king can defend himself in the present and therefore defend all kings in the past in the present too. Right, but I think right now, they've confirmed that move. Now they've fucked up. Now they really have. So you're absolutely right, Howard, about what we need to do here. We're going to move this rook. He left, yeah. If we move the rook to there... Oh, we can't actually test that I was right about that, but we are. If the rook sits there, then this rook is now putting these kings in check here. And he's not going to be able to travel back in time. That's why they left. They left because we'd won. Okay. Cool. Variant random clocks short. Oh, I see. Okay, no, we want variant standard clocks short. Custom match. Standard. Short clocks. Random. Standard. Create public match. That's what we want to do. Imagine rage quitting chess. That's pretty funny. Okay, alright, here we go. So once again, we're going to develop our pieces down the edge of the board and leave as much of a defensive shell of our queen, bishop, and 3 pawns around our king as possible. Or we're going to move this... Oops, submit. We're going to develop this pawn to there, develop the bishop and castle immediately. And then we can start to develop everything else a bit more normally, knowing that our king is really tucked away. Like I keep saying, defending your king in 5D chess is a historical concern. You've got to think. Not just is my king defended right now, but where my king is right now, is that position defendable for the foreseeable future? Fucking ridiculous. Oh, they changed their mind. Okay. That's one thing that annoys me, is how they're allowed to change their mind. Right, I think they really fucked up. So this move here, opening up the diagonal to their king, is a massive error. So we're going to take the risk of opening up our own king in order to plonk our queen there. Once we plonk our queen there, it will be attacking past kings and we'll get checkmate almost instantly. It's actually easier to get a quick checkmate in 5D chess than it is in normal chess. The opening game is more deterministic in 5D chess than in real chess. And I think this is checkmate. Yeah, you win. That's the end. Right? And the reason is because I'm checking the king in the present, but I'm also checking this king right back in the past here. You see, we need to move 1, 2, 3 squares. And we're here. 1. Yeah, 1. Yeah, we're here. And we need to move 1 square, 2, 3 into the past. Any number of dimensions, any number of places, but it has to be the same. So if you think about the way a queen works in chess, it can move in the X or Y axis, but it has to move the same number of places in both axes, right? Or it can just pick one axis, like it can just move along one axis or 2, but whenever it moves along 2, it's got to move like 4 places in X and 4 places in Y to be diagonal. It can't just move like a knight, like one position X, 2 position Y. So that's the thing about queens, is they can move as many dimensions as they like, as many places as they like, but every dimension they move in, they must move in the same number of places in each. It can be any number of places, but it just has to be consistent across all the dimensions they move in within that turn. And so what the queen did here was it moved in the X dimension and in the Y dimension and in the time dimension. 3 places in each. And therefore this queen is attacking that king. And it's because this pawn moved here. So if you think about it, the queen's path was, it was there, and then in our previous turn it would have been there, and then in the previous turn before that it would have been there. See where they opened the pawn and I said that is a mistake? It's because that pawn got opened up that there's this opportunity to then attack in the past on that turn, and then the turn previous to that, by that point, by the time you get back to this point in time, our queen is taking that king. There's no defending that because they can't do anything. Because if they try to only defend in the past, like one defending move they could do in the past is this knight could move 2 places in the Y dimension and 1 place in time, and then, well, their board would actually be here, so they'd end up there, blocking the queen from moving in the past. However, that would not prevent the queen from taking in the present. Okay, finished game. I actually think I'm way better at this than I thought. Custom, is it just going to be my, yeah, it's going to be a standard settings, and then we just go to custom, create public match each time, and that's cool. We might actually get better games playing the AI. I imagine that most of the human player base of this game are like completely clueless to what's going on, and I've been kind of doing a bit of training. The last couple of weeks I was doing a few of the tutorials and kind of learning how the pieces move, and then last night I started playing games. And it's been a journey learning. But I feel like I have a grasp of it now that probably means I'm right up there because, like, yeah, I wasn't expecting to win that game so quickly, put it that way. It's just mind-blowing. It is indeed, mate. It is absolutely mind-blowing. Oh, submit moves. Right, so they're moving in time immediately. I think that's bad strategy too. I think that shows that this person is quite an experienced player. We'll just play our same opening move. I also think there's something nice about keeping consistency amongst boards on your own pieces a little bit. I don't know, I haven't quite worked out whether I agree with that yet, but at the moment my principle that I'm working to is that that's keeping some kind of regularity between the boards. It's just easier to process in your own head what you're doing. See, look, now they've done this, they've created a timeline that we don't need to play in if we don't want to, because they're already like in debt, And also look at all these boards where they're just undeveloped and have less pieces, you know. Let's take. We don't need to play on this board, but we're just going to. We have to play on these two boards. I'd like to castle on the king side here, I think. Sorry, on the queen side. So we're going to play the same move on both of these boards. There may be an argument for not playing the same on parallel timelines, because if you play two different moves on parallel timelines, those boards can still move amongst one another. So maybe like spreading your queens out. So on one board your queen's on the right, and on the other board your queen's on the left flank. Then you can kind of move those queens around in creative ways as you choose. Again, this board is not active, so he's choosing to play on it. But now that we've taken, I'm just going to leave that board. We've got no obligation to play on this board whatsoever. And on this board, we've lost a pawn. He's time traveling again. And again, there is no obligation for me to play on that board. So I won't. It's just like, cool. You can keep moving all your pieces out of the present day into the past. But if you do too much time traveling compared to your opponent, you're just in a weaker position. Right. So I don't need to even play. I just need to play on the boards that have purple arrows. So we could take here, or we could just develop bishops. My opponent has left. So this might be the thing that gets annoying about this game. And then if the player base just isn't there, we need to maybe join the Discord. That I know there's a 5D chess Discord, which I haven't joined yet. But we can maybe join that and try and like find the slightly more competitive scene. Because these public games don't seem to be delivering particularly good opponents. That's how you would have played it, except for leaving. Well, I respect the non-leaving. I think like that player, I think that player was quite new to the game, because they were clearly very excited to travel in time and just constantly sending pieces back in time, and that's not good strategy. I have to say, I am really, really, really impressed by all this though, because the thing that's cool about this, right? If you think about time travel and parallel universes as sci-fi concepts in, popular media, Doctor Who, or whatever, Terminator, any of these things, Back to the Future, like, it's really great stuff. I always really love stories that involve these ideas. But it never works. It's never like, I get it. There's always that weird paradox, the time travel paradox is kind of always there. And I think, within the confines of chess, they've managed to create a system in which like time travel and parallel universes, at least in my mind now, genuinely exist and make sense. And it's a game. It's a real game. Like, there's rules, and there aren't paradoxes in the gameplay, I don't think. Maybe as we get deeper, we might find there are some paradoxes in the gameplay, but I haven't found any yet. Like, I've got to the point now with the rules where I understand the rules, I understand the strategy a little bit, I certainly understand the game, I understand what I need to do to win, and it's competitive, and it's playing around with time travel, and like, genuinely it genuinely is playing around with time travel and parallel universes. Like, they've created a really amazing system here, I think, and potentially something that then other genres of gaming could learn from in terms of applying things like time travel to like competitive gaming. I don't know, I mean, most games that deal with time travel tend to have that be a narrative element, not a gameplay element. I suppose Braid, right? Is it called Braid? That indie game that had all of the time travel in it? I think it was called Braid. I never actually played it. Yeah, I mean, this isn't great, is it? Should we try a CPU match against a aggressive strong? Recommend sound. Let's do that, because maybe the aggressive strong CPU will actually play better than the average random punter in a public game. And then for our next stream, why don't we I'll join the Discord and see if I can find you know, somebody who's maybe been playing for a fortnight and is looking for a better opponent than one they can find on thing. You know, that might work for us here. So let's get both our knights out. Let's think about where we want to castle. Okay, I'm going to do this. It's slightly risky, but it lets our queen and our bishop out, and then we'll just castle immediately to the king's side. Let's do that. That's aggressive. Pinning the pawn. Kind of forcing them to make a decision about what goes on with this queen a little bit, because we're starting to potentially trap the queen. Okay, they're very relaxed about that. Let's take the opportunity in the time they've given us to castle. And then it'd be good to get our queen out to do some attacking. I'm going to move the queen out to here. Ideas of moving the queen to a5, where it's defended twice by bishop and knight, and then attacking the queen and creating a sort of queen and, what do they call them? A battery or something? I can't remember the chess term. When you have, like, you know, your pieces lined up so they're like the queen behind the bishop, puts huge pressure then on that pawn and pinning on the king. So I think that's a good move. Right, they've moved their knight back in time to here, where it's not really threatening anything yet. But it is defending the square that we wanted to move to later, but that's a different dimension. Totally different dimension, dude. It's not relevant. Okay, I say we go here on that board, and we continue to plan on this board. This is a future board, so they may choose to not play this board, but we'll catch up to it. What did they do? They moved their knight down to there to attack this knight to kind of put pressure then on the bishop as well. Well, the knight's undefended. This is a free knight, because if I take... Oh, no, it's not quite. If I take the knight, then they take the bishop. But if I don't move the knight, then they take the knight, I take the knight, and then they take the bishop. So what I need to do is move the bishop. So, because the knight's already defended, so worst case scenario, we do a knight-to-knight trade, but I just keep my bishop. And I think I want him there, so that it's now pointing with the queen. They're both converging on that square there next to the king. Makes sense. And the two boards have caught up with one another now. So because I didn't play on this one yet, or did I? I did. Yeah, but I did previous turn. So now I submit moves here and both boards progress, and it's, yeah, black has to act on both boards now. And we've got a free queen here. They just push their knight forwards, which strikes me as just AI kind of going bonkers. If we move our queen to there, there's risk of the knight taking us in the past, or taking in the future. That knight could take us on that square. So we can't really take that pawn until we need to take that knight first. Because we'd take that pawn there, but then one turn in the future that knight could time travel back and kill us. So yeah, we can't do that. But they've moved this pawn forwards, which gives us the checkmate. I think that's a checkmate, and I think that's a lost queen. So I think all in all they've done badly here. Submit. It's not a checkmate. What the fuck? Oh no, they took my queen. Because bishops move in straight lines. Yeah, okay, right. Okay, so let's talk about how bishops move. So bishops move the same number of places in 2 dimensions. 2 dimensions at once. A bishop can pick up to 2 dimensions and they can move the same number of places. You can't go 3 places in time and 1 place in space, because that's not what a bishop does. A bishop moves like in 2D chess, X and Y axis, it moves the same, like that's what diagonal is, moving the same number of places on both axes at the same time. So what the bishop did there was it moved 1 place in parallel time, in parallel universes, and it moved 1 place in space. So even though it's not a diagonal move to go from that square to that square, or from that square to that square, it is, because they moved 1 place in 2 dimensions at the same time. So it was like a diagonal across the y-axis and the parallel universes. Fuck me. Okay. Okay, so this top board is bad news for us now, and the bottom one is really good news for us, because they've lost their queen on the bottom board, and we've lost our queen on the top. So with that in mind, let's move our king. Oh wait, no, hold on. Let's take their queen on the other board. Oh my god, it's so good. I'm just trying to think, can anything else take us? I don't think so, but it's really hard to spot these things. But yeah, this queen can just move to there. I'm not quite sure how that works, because to me it's like they're moving 1 place in parallel but 0 places in space. And I would have thought, if you're moving 1 place in parallel... Oh, well, it was allowed. Submit. Definitely taking the queen. Okay, they've gone back in time and doubled up their kings. So what they did was, in this board down here where they've got no queen anymore, they fled. Their king has escaped into the past. And because they are ahead already on the number of timelines they've created, they created this top one, and now they've created this one. This one isn't active. I don't need to play it. I can, but I don't need to. I'm knocking on the door. No? I heard a rattle outside. What kind of Doctor Who thing is this? Trust me, yes, Gillian, welcome. This is a madness, bruv. This is a true madness. So let's think about this. They've got 2 kings in this board, so they're vulnerable, and we have our queen there. This is a nice board. They've got no queen. We've still got all of our minor pieces and all of our pawns. We've not lost a single piece, and they've got 2 kings, so they're like twice as vulnerable. And if we were to move the queen back 1 space, then we create that battery again. Another good move would just be to push the pawn up 1 as well. It's defended by the knight, and then it's forcing that knight to do something. But I don't think we don't need to play on that board, so I don't know if we should. The emergency is right here. Look, this queen is under attack from that knight. I've got 3 knights on this board as well, for fuck's sake. So crazy. Alright. I'm going to need to polish off this stream quite shortly anyway, so let's just try and play through this game now. As quick as we can. Get to a resolution. And then I'm going to take the kids out to the park because nap time has just finished. So I think... Is there takes here? If we move to there... Yeah, the bishop will be able to take us in exactly the same way as it did. From this board, it will just take our queen. Fuck that. I think we just take this knight here, or we move... No, there's no kings to attack in this board. This board is kind of useless. But the other thing we could do is we could move our king off of this board into here. They don't have any boards with queens left. And we've got no queens on this board, so for now this board is weaker to us. So the other option is to just start moving pieces from this board. I'm going to play that move here to open up the rook. If we move the rook to there, then in a couple moves we can move it up to there. And I think we are just going to take here. Okay, they're just running their knight back and forth, which is kind of whatever. But what this knight is doing is threatening to take here, which would then force us to open up the king. So I don't want to do that. So ideally we take the knight there with something else, or we defend the knight here with something else. Okay, but ideas of bringing the rook over onto this board are happening. So we'll do that, and then over here, yeah, we just need to resolve this situation. I mean, I guess what we're going to do is probably retreat our king into this board anyway. So let's leave that for now. Let's let them follow that breadcrumb trail that is going to basically be a dead end for them, because we'll escape from this board to that board later. And I like the look of this move, maybe, with the potential to fork the king and the rook in the future. We just need to deal with that bishop on that board first to stop it from jumping timelines. So they just develop 2 pawns. So here's my idea. You see this rook now? This rook can move over to this board, and we just start really piling on the pressure on this board where there's the king that we want to fight, and that's going to take up our moves on both boards. Fine. Okay, they retreated that knight. That's interesting. You know, I really want to do is take this pawn here, because then if they take with the bishop, but it doesn't help us. That's the bishop's then still on this board defending that square on this board here, which is what we're trying to avoid. So we need something else. Play that move there. And on this board, Let's do that. We'll get the bishop out. What are they doing? Okay, fine. Doesn't seem to be an issue. In fact, wasn't that king was causing us problems, because we couldn't move our, I mean that knight, sorry, we was causing us problems. We couldn't move our queen up to this square, which is what we kind of wanted to do, and now we can. Okay, good. We can fork the bishop and the rook, and the only one they can actually save is the rook. So then we'll take the bishop, and then we'll be able to play our fuckery up here, the fork that we want that actually forks the king and the rook up here, and we'll just develop down there. Okay, they've run away. It's fine. I'm going to take, even though normally you'd want to take the rook, this bishop is causing us more issues in terms of you know, that bishop's defending this square here on this board. So yeah, we don't want that. So we're gonna choose the bishop there. On this board, I'm gonna push this queen forwards as well, I think, because then later on when we fork, they'll move the king to there, which will probably be their only legal move unless they travel back in time with him, which will mean that then when we take with the knight on the rook, it will open up the queen and they'll be in check again. And there you go, look, he's moved his king from there to take the knight back then and create this. So now there's no kings in the present. All of his kings are hiding in the past. For fuck's sake. So now we have to engage in one of these boards that we didn't before. We'll play that move on that one. So there's a king here. But this is a terrible board. Play that move there as well, just do the same development. And we just have to basically wait until they catch up with these boards. The thing that's cool is that our kings are very safe on these boards now because they've pretty much bailed completely from those boards. Anyway, we can still play what we thought was, well, it still is quite a nice move, this. Or I think I actually can see a better move here. And that's that one. Now that the fork isn't really a thing anymore, we just take the rook. Okay, that bishop wanted to escape back to where it came from. But I think, yeah, do we just start dismantling everything? Oh wait, hold on. Oh, I should have played on those. Oh no, is he choosing not to play? So he's choosing not to play on these boards now, which means that I have to travel back in time to force him to play on them. And the first one to be forced will be that one, which is the one I'm most interested in forcing, actually, because they've got two kings on those. So we don't need to travel far. We just need to travel a bit. So this board's very strong. So let's move our king to there. And that little bit is going to create a new timeline here, but it's going to mean that we're now even, and now this becomes the present, and he must play on it. So they go to pressure the queen. So we retreat the queen, creating the battery again, or whatever it is. Submit moves. We just play on this one board now until it catches up with the present day or whatever. The whole thing is crazy, isn't it? Like, the way this shit goes down, it's madness. Now that strikes me as a bad move, because neither of the kings can take, and potentially this bishop is checking the kings in the past, and I think that's checkmate. Checkmate, I win, yes! Okay, I'm actually getting good at this shit, right? Like, I actually know what's going on, and we're winning games. So this is exciting. So I'm going to end this stream here because I need to go out now. But thank you very much for watching. If you're new to the channel and 5D Chess has brought you to us fresh, then please do drop a little like, drop a little subscription, and come back for more. I'm probably going to play more 5D Chess very soon. That was a lot of fun. So between now and the next 5D Chess stream, we're going to join the Discord and find some opponents. So I look forward to that. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you soon. Peace.